Hi, I'm Geoffrey Lipman, the Assistant Secretary General at the UN World Tourism Organization.
Thank you for joining us here at Breaking Travel News. Now, day 2 of the summit, WTTC, you've played an integral role. Yesterday, in particular, you were on the panel of the flu discussions.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very strange discussion, to be honest, because on the one hand, there is the reality that the flu is out there, and there is the perception amongst many people here that there is an overly strong media reaction to it. That was the issue that was on the floor. Now, from where we come from the United Nations system, we believe that, in fact, the flu is out there and the necessary preparedness measures have been taken, which have actually been prepared over the past 3 years to alert people to what this could do if it happens to move to a pandemic phase. The good news is that so far it hasn't moved to that phase. And the second piece of good news is that all of the mechanisms that have been put in place have been tested and have been found to work very well.
And today you were on the globalisation panel. What was the key you took away from that?
Well, there was a discussion this morning around a report and work that the World Economic Forum has been doing for some time, measuring the competitiveness of industries generally. It started now to measure the tourism sector. It produces an annual report which shows how countries are scoring around a lot of criteria as to how well they deliver a quality and competitive tourism product. And there was a very great interest in it. I mean, even though it was just a breakfast session, we had over 100 people crammed into the room. The questions were very dynamic because it's clear in a globalizing world where competition for tourists is increasing, and at the same time there's an economic downturn, so the numbers of tourists are less, the competition's more intense, and people were anxious to know what they had to do in order to make themselves more competitive.
And your thoughts on Brazil, how that fits into the equation?
Well, but first of all, Brazil's a great tourism country. It's a player. I think on this report it's in 150 countries, it's in the top third, and it's got all the capacity to get better and better. There are some areas where it needs to strengthen its activities, particularly when it comes to reducing the regulation, entry regulation, the cost of visas, simple things. And there are some other things where they need to put some more support for transport domestically. But there's great enthusiasm, and having President Lula here and actually talking out about the importance of tourism, not only to the economy of Brazil, but in his perception to the economy of the world at a time when you need to stimulate confidence around the world. And he spoke very strongly in favour of tourism.
Now, as the summit draws to a close, what's one key issue that you will take away from here?
We need to consolidate our activities, the public sector, the private sector, the different components of tourism, airlines, hotels. We need to get a very simple message. And from our perspective at the UN World Tourism Organization, that message at this moment in time is that this is one of the most important industries in the world. We can create more jobs than any other sector. And when governments are stimulating economies around the world, they need to put tourism right up at the front.
Geoffrey Lipman, thank you very much for joining us on Breaking Travel News on the last day of the WTTC Summit.
It's a pleasure to be with you. I read your stuff, I watch your stuff, you do good stuff.